hour for the use of the city's swim center. And that, believe it or not, is the totality of the fee recommendations for this year.
Thanks, Rick, for that. I appreciate that. Two questions that I have. So the police special event security, how often are our police officers asked for covering special events? Is that like a...
You know, it happens occasionally. For instance, possibly, I don't know whether the Junk Free Funk in 2016 paid that, but they might have events that require enhanced security that are formal events. We do on occasion require either private security or law enforcement presence at events that have large numbers of people. It doesn't happen terribly often, but when it does happen, we want to have the ability to charge. I believe also that we have enhanced security during the fair, if I remember right, and there are probably undoubtedly some other times that I'm just not recalling. I don't track that too closely, so I can't give you a terribly accurate answer, but those would be the types of events that would be subject to the fee increase.
Thank you. The second question I have, can you explain why the siloing with the mower? Because, I mean, in regards to Public Works versus the cemetery, I mean, cemetery...
Public Works is a special revenue fund in that it receives funding that's dedicated funding, and they use that dedicated funding to purchase the mower and then loan the mower to a non-Public Works related program, which is the cemetery. So we have created a structure that allows Public Works to recapture their actual costs associated with that piece of equipment that they're loaning to a non-Public Works program. This is consistent with what we do in maintaining the cemetery, in that we establish an hourly rate for Public Works staff and bill based on actual hours worked, and that is the basis upon which we staff and maintain the cemetery on a day-to-day basis. The alternative was to spend several thousands of dollars to purchase a lawnmower and then be required to maintain that lawnmower, and it just made more sense, more economic sense, because our use is proportionally less than Public Works is. Our use in the general fund for the cemetery is proportionally lower use than Public Works would have for its demand on the same mower.
Kind of in the same vein of having the admin charges for each different department, so that
this
can
just
recoup costs.
Takes the money going the other direction. We charge them for HR services, they charge us to use their mower.
Okay, makes sense.
That's actually a great analogy.
That is a very good analogy. Councilor Parker?
Rick, did you say that we're eliminating one of the categories because it's redundant?
Yes, yes.
Who found that?
I assume, I do not know the answer to that. I don't know, Julie may know the answer to that. Melanie requested it, so our court staff found it.
I'm glad somebody is reading close enough to tell that we've got duplicates.
Yeah, and that was an interesting fee because, as I understand it, it was embedded in another, and so we thought we were charging for one thing, and one asked, picture a multi-tiered infraction, whatever it is, or fee, where we thought that we'd established two separate fees to address one issue, and in fact both of the fees were captured in one, plus in the primary fee, and we'd established a second one because we didn't realize that the primary fee was inclusive of both. So, yeah, Melanie did a great job.
Like running a tight ship. That's nice. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple of questions as well. I do like consistency and having all of the fees in one place. And in the vein of consistency, I also want to understand the theory behind some of the fees charged, and specifically these ones in the urban renewal programs, First Friday and Main Street. First Friday marketing program, are we no longer having that program? Or why are we deleting the fee?
You know, I don't know. First Friday, I'm not sure. It was just proposed that the fee be
I know we still have First Friday, I'm just wondering if the
we
marketing...
do still have First Friday.
But it's the marketing program, I'm wondering, are we not offering that to the businesses anymore, or are we just not charging them?
I'm sorry, I do not know the answer to that question.
Okay. I'm just curious because I'm asked, you know, why we provide so much that maybe the businesses should be paying for, and when they charged it, I know we had grumbling from the businesses, but then the taxpayers were happy, and I mean, you're not going to make everybody happy, I understand that, I just like to have the answers when I'm asked. And in the Main Street, kind of the same question, we're deleting the fee for the dog race, but we're adding a new charge for the car show, and I've already heard grumblings from the car show community, if you will, that why am I having to pay $10 for someone to come watch my car for free? So I'm just wondering, you know, if we're going to have consistency of having the fees in one concise schedule, what's the consistency in how we're charging the fees?
Well, we don't have the dog race anymore, so we removed the fees from that.
That makes sense.
The car show does take a great deal of time and effort, and we purchase trophies and awards, and so there is a cost associated with sponsoring that program. We're simply trying to recover some of the costs associated with holding the car show as one of the events. Okay.
That answers that question very well on the car show, and I appreciate that, and I can take that back. But I would like to know about the First Friday if you get a chance to find that out, or I can ask
I will
Jamie.
check, and I will get that information back to you. My assumption is that it was a service that we had been providing that we're no longer providing, so we're no longer charging. But I'll get that information to you.
Okay, great, thank you. That's all I have for now.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to know that too, if you're going to send that privately. I've owned a downtown business for nearly 10 years, and I didn't even know we had a First Friday marketing program. No one's ever approached me about it. I don't even know what it is. So,
I would not be totally truthful if I didn't say that I'm not quite sure what it is either. So I will get that information and share it with you. And I'm embarrassed to say that, but I have to be honest about it. I don't know what it is.
I appreciate the honesty.
Saying I don't know is okay, Rick.
It's okay to not know.
We say it often, and then we email you for the answer.
I thought you were saying that Rick doesn't know often.
No, we never say that. Because we don't know if you don't know, because we always get a response back, see? So we depend on you. Yeah. So can we jot that down? Rick didn't know. Okay.
I will send that answer out to all 7 of you so you all know.
Thank you.
Any other questions before I open up the public hearing piece?
And don't reply all.
Yeah, thanks,
Right,
Joe.
thank you, Joe.
Joe, you're 2 for 2 tonight. Take it. We're all growing and learning. No other questions? Okay. Well, I will take the opportunity then to open up the public hearing for any testimony. So if there are any, those that are in favor of our fee increases or the no changes or changes that we have made, seeing no one rushing up here, I will move to close the proponent piece, open up the opponent aspect. Anyone that's not in favor of us making these changes that are here. Seeing no one running, I will close the public hearing. Any other questions at all from the hearing body? Okay, discussion?
If I may, I would really like to express my appreciation to Julie for kind of coordinating this whole process. It was pretty exhaustive. She spent a good part of the last 6 weeks corralling and working with all of the departments to get this information together, to make sure it was accurate and to be able to present it in a concise and understandable way. So thank you, Julie.
Okay. Then we'll move into, I will officially close the hearing. Move into resolutions and ordinances.
The first item we have is Resolution 1262. This is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Canby, Oregon, setting fees for services.
Anyone care to make a motion? Or
I will. I move to adopt Resolution 1262, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Canby, Oregon, setting fees for services.
Thank you. Motion has been made by Councilor Spoon and seconded by Councilor Height to approve Resolution 1262, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Canby, Oregon, setting fees for services. Any other questions or discussion? No? All those in favor?
All right.
Anyone opposed? That passes 6-0.
The next item we have is ordinance 1460. This is authorizing a contract with MV Transportation, Inc. of Dallas, Texas for providing transit operations for the Canby Area Transit and declaring an emergency.
Well, hi, Julie. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Mr. Mayor, councilors, good evening. As you know, CAT operates with contracted drivers and dispatchers and a contracted supervisor. Since 2001, that contractor has been MV Transportation. Our contract with MV has run its course. At the end of 2016, we'd reached the limits of our first contract. Last year, we were lucky enough to negotiate an extension with MB when they agreed to extend for 12 months without a rate increase. But the time has run out on our agreement, and it will expire on the 30th of June. So we published a request for proposal on March 27th, and by April 28th, we received proposals from 8 companies. Each of the companies were interviewed, and a 4-member selection committee scored the proposals and the interviews according to a best value criteria. Ultimately, MV Transportation received the highest score of 87.5% and was also the #1 pick of each of the selection committee members. Based on the estimate of 57 vehicle hours per day, over the first 3 years of the agreement, the MV proposal will cost 5.95% more than the amount that was budgeted in 2017. With this agreement in place, we can budget $871,286 for contracted services in 2018, which is a 3.8 increase over 2016 and 2017. I'm pleased with the outcome of the RFP. With the increase in minimum wage and the collective bargaining agreement negotiations in the works, when we started the RFP process, there was concern that the rate might increase more dramatically than it did. There are also many advantages to keeping the same contractor who understands our service and is already working with us as a partner to address some of the issues that have been brought to light during the transit master planning process. And they're working with us to provide public transportation service to our citizens currently. I look forward to working with MB, and as you might imagine, the drivers and dispatchers are also very relieved and happy with the outcome of the RFP process. I hope you'll approve this agreement with MB, and thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Whaley at all regarding the contract and the conversation? No, sir. Conversation, so Rick, we've already moved into the budgeting process and whatnot, and here we have a 5.95% increase for the next year. What is that going to mean for us in a budget sense in terms of adjustments?
We'll just need to make them before the end of the fiscal year, of the next fiscal year. I'll work with Julie and see if it's possible to get it in by the time you adopt this year's budget, but I'm not sure that's possible. It doesn't create a problem because you certainly have the authority to make mid-year adjustments, and you have the money to operate for 11 and a half months as it is under the budget that is presented to you as part of the 2017-18 budget based on estimates. So either way, it doesn't create a problem. If we can make that tweak before you see the budget as a city council, then you won't see it tomorrow night because we won't have the opportunity, and you will not have finally adopted it until after the budget committee has completed its work. But if it's possible for us to get it on the I believe it's June 20th. For the June 20th public hearing, we'll go ahead and incorporate it. If not, you'll just see it as one of our quarterly adjustments.
Thank you. Julie, is this, and forgive me if I missed this in the reading, is this a year-to-year contract with MV, or are we in a block of time?
The contract this time, the RP was written for a 3-year contract with the option of 2 additional 3-year extensions, which is different. Last time it was a 2-year contract with the option of 3 1-year extensions.
We took all the extensions.
Plus
we did
one.
With MV? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. We currently, in the budget, it reflects a much higher increase than what so we would actually have to bring the budget number down
So you
to
are,
make the budget accurate.
so you submitted a budget high, knowing that we would get an
Yes.
increase, but it's lower than what
Yes.
you thought it would be? Okay.
Much lower than what we budgeted.
I like
actually.
much lower. That's good.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. So thank you for that. Yes, sir.
Julie, one clarification, if you could. The 5.9% increase, and now is that a fixed increase that's going to stay the same fixed dollars for the next 3 years? Or is
No.
it going to continue to increase each of the
No, actually,
subsequent years?
in the current, that's over the 3-year period, if you're only measuring it from what we budgeted this year.
So
that we're-
each year, it'll be 5.9% higher than what we had this current
No.
year?
This year, in year 1, it's a 3.8 increase, and in year 2, it's a 1.7, and in year 3, it's a 2.7.
Okay, okay. So overall, it's 5.
Overall,
So
it's...
that's pretty good, and you take cost of living and inflation and everything else?
Yes.
It's very good.
Going up, okay.
Glad it was a smooth process, and the team was overwhelmingly in support of
Yeah,
MV.
we didn't agree on number 2, but we agreed on number 1.
That's what's important, yeah.
Yeah.
Clear cut choice. That makes it easy. Perfect. Great. Question? Any other questions?
Well, I'm sure Rick already knows it's coming. The explanation on the emergency declaration.
Yes, we need to get this in place by June 30th at the expiration of this contract. I would also like to express that this is one of the most efficient RFP selection processes I have ever seen. Julie's done a remarkable job, and in getting through both the development of the RFP, which is very complex, and the scoring system that she worked weekends to devise, and then the execution of the interviews with the vendors that were competitive in this RFP. I would say it's certainly among the top 5 that I've seen done. So thank you.
Thank you.
Julie, sorry, you're not off the hook just yet. So you said there was 8 companies sent in an RFP. The last time we opened up and did this, how many did we get?
4 last time.
So why such
I'm
a
not
broad?
exactly sure. ODOT asked me in one of our reviews to do a broader publication the next time we went out. So I published it in Orpin, and I published it in the Daily Business Journal, and I published it on the CTAA, which is the Community Transportation of America, on their website, and also on OTA's website. So I really got it out there nationally, so I'm guessing that's why.
Okay. It was just a curiosity question. That, we always look at the numbers of bids that come in and when we're putting out for work, and lately there's been, with as busy as so many companies are on a lot of the construction side, but we still see so many that are trying to keep out there getting more work. I was just curious that we had 8 this time, which seemed like a lot.
I was surprised. We actually had 9 interested, and 1 backed out at the last minute because they had some emergency. And they all were qualified, actually. So it was a very competitive process.
Thank you, Julie. Appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I move that we, to approve Ordinance 1460, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and the city administrator to execute an agreement with MV Transportation of Dallas, Texas, for providing transit service operations on behalf of the city and Canby Area Transit, and declaring an emergency, to come up for second reading on June 7, 2017.
Thank you. Motion has been made by Councillor Hensley and seconded by Councillor Spoon to adopt Ordinance 1460, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and city administrator to execute an agreement with MV Transportation of Dallas, Texas for providing transit service operations on behalf of the city and Canby area transit and declaring an emergency to come up for second reading on June 7th, 2017. Any other discussion? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That carries 6-0. Thank you, everyone. Next piece of business under new business is discussion for us regarding a council liaison to Bridging Cultures and Concilio. So this was something that was brought up by Councilors Height and Spoon, as well as Bridging Cultures and Concilio to really to embrace and have a liaison, official liaison role to that group from the council to Bridging Cultures and Concilio. And so I put on the agenda for conversation, and again, not sure if there's an official piece that we would need to do in that regards of creating a liaison to the position. No.
It wouldn't be any different than how you have liaisons to the fire department.
It would just be added to the list, and we would hash it out every year, every other year for the liaison role. Okay. Did either of you want to maybe speak to your thoughts and reasonings why you wanted to have this brought into place? Councilor Spoon, go ahead.
This is something that I'm really excited about the possibility of. When I think about, like we had our session where we talked about values, and one of them is inclusion. And what Bridging Cultures and Concilio does is it addresses the needs of a significant portion of our population, almost 25%, depending on the numbers that you're looking at, of our population that doesn't necessarily have direct representation on the council, and I think maybe even has some unique barriers to interacting with local government, including cultural barriers, language barriers. Our meeting happens in English, Concilio happens in Spanish, and not everyone that's a part of the organization speaks English. So I think this is a really special way for us to engage and participate in that inclusive outreach that we talked about in our value setting, the outreach and the inclusivity to hear the needs of a community that is aspiring to bridge cultures and aspiring to be more engaged with us, and this is an opportunity for us to engage back with them. And they did something really special this last year in proactively engaging the police department in creating a survey and improving, first off, kind of gauging and then improving the relationship between the police department and our Latino population. And so I think that demonstrates a desire to engage with the government that I feel a responsibility to engage back on. And I'm really proud of what the organization is doing, and that it's not just about representing a single part of the community, but these organizations, Bridging Cultures and Concilio, are working very hard to include people of all cultures together in community events like the barbecues and the summer picnics. And I'm really proud of what they're doing. So I think it's a neat opportunity for us.
Want to add anything, Councilor?
Yeah, just a couple points. That was well spoken, Sarah. Yeah, this makes us more approachable, I think, too, if there's more of a direct liaison or a link of communication. And so there's no question. It's like, yes, we're open, we're listening, we're approachable, and we can work together however we can. And this formalizes it, too, which I think is important. So I'm delighted that we're taking this step.
And I understand Vicente Alvarez, did you want to come up and share with us your thoughts on the matter?
Hello, everyone. My name is Vicente Alvarez. I'm the president of Concilio, and yeah, like they said, we were working in some projects, and yeah, we were trying to reach the city council, and I'm a little familiar with Tracy and Spoon, and I think it's a good idea if we can work together, because I don't think there is any Latino leader in our community. Maybe we feel a little on the side. So if we can work together, maybe we can do better things in our community.
Agree, sir. Thank you very much for coming and talking to us about it. I think it's an important piece, and thank you too for bringing it up and making it a part. So, is there any conversation, dialogue, questions? It's a good thing. It is a good thing. Councilor Parker.
I'm thrilled by it. I think it's something that some of us have been trying to figure out a linkage for years on how to do this sort of thing, and I like the way that it's emerged this way.
I'm all for it, but I would point out there are definitely some community leaders that are from the Hispanic community already. Jesse Villarreal, Greg Perez, you know, there's lots of them in lots of different organizations, but I support this absolutely.
No, and I agree. I think, you know, I mean, to the point of this and having, you know, I think, so you have Bridging Cultures as the overarching group. I'm going to look to Tony and Betty and some of the other members there that to nod affirmatively. If I speak out of turn, please tell me. Bridging Cultures is the overarching group, and Concilio is a subset of Bridging Cultures, correct? I'm seeing nods of yes. Okay. And I think there are those pieces within our community, yeah, Greg Perez and others that are definitely leaders in our community. I think this is a great opportunity to further enhance that and bring that out in our community where that may not be the case. And I think going to the Concilio and Bridging Cultures event, when we had the police chief there and Officer Campos, they did a great job representing the community. And I mean, there's definitely some pieces there that I think that are already going and improving. I think there's an article in the Herald about it as well. So I think we are taking steps to improve those relations, not just between the city and this one group, but I think the city and culturally 25% of our population. So I'm glad that it seemed to be all on board that we want to add this as a liaison position. In terms of, I'm going to look to you two, in terms of, are you guys going to arm wrestle? Are going to share it for the time being?
I'd be happy to share.
I'm okay with, okay.
I'd pay a fee to watch the arm wrestling.
We'll keep you posted
So
on that.
Bridging Cultures will do an arm wrestling fundraiser on that.
I think there's going to be plenty to do. I'm glad to have both of you involved.
Yeah. I think this is an important piece. So for now, we'll have both of them as co-liaisons to Bridging Cultures and Concilio. I know from the event that I attended with you, I have some thoughts, so we need to definitely get together so we can start implementing some of those pieces. And I know, I'm sure Tony and Betty and other members and Vicente also have a long list of ideas as well. So I'm anxious to get some of those going and implemented as well. And at the wire, I will let Michelle, if you'd like to come up. Vicente, thank you, sir, very, very much.
Thank you for
Thank
inviting
you
me.
for staying so late to talk to us. Yeah.
Michelle.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Michelle Poirot, and I just want to say that Bridging Cultures and the Concilio were incredibly helpful when we were doing outreach on these questions about transit in Canby. In fact, I work in other cities across the western U.S. where there are many Latino and Hispanic community members who are interested in transit and riding transit, and I have now been spoiled by Canby, because in these other cities, I ask, don't you have a community organization that helps Anglo and Latino members of the community have conversations? And people say, no, we don't. So I think what you have here is very unique. It does not exist in many, many communities, even much bigger cities. And I think it's just such a great asset. It allowed us to ask important questions of a much broader range of people than, and much larger numbers of people than we would have been able to on our own. So, Mr. Alvarez in particular was helpful, as were the others on the Concilio and all the people you've named tonight. But I just think the organization is so special compared to what I see all over the U.S., that it's really worth not just, I'm sure it takes financial investment, but also investment of social and civic capital, which is what you're talking about putting into it right now.
Thank you, Michelle.
For sharing
Appreciate that. So, Mr. City Attorney, is there an official, we don't have the official motion or anything, we're with consensus, we're good with adding this to the list and moving forward?
Correct.
Great. Do we know when the next Bridging Cultures and/or Concilio event meeting is?
We'll find out.
Board meets on June 7th.
June 7th.
Okay.
Where at?
We need a Baker Prisons.
So Bridging Cultures, June 7th, Baker Prairie Middle School,
What time? What time, Tony?
6:30.
Okay, thanks.
6:30.
I will point out that is a council meeting.
That's a council night.
Hold on just a moment. I think I may have misspoken.
It's usually Tuesdays, isn't it?
Extra long bridge.
Wednesday, so
That would be June 6th.
All right. Got it.
June 6th. Tuesday. Baker Prairie Middle School. 6:30, you said?
I'm going to adjust that as well.
6 p.m.
Email us later.
I used to tell my students, your memory's the second thing to go, but I couldn't remember.
Yes, Betty.
Also, the first summer event of the Virgin Cultures Picnic in the Park is this Saturday, and it happens every Saturday throughout summer. Everybody in Camden is invited to come eat, play, and enjoy.
Locust Street?
Locust.
It's at, yeah, the Locust Park. At what time for the community, Betty? What time for the community?
I thought I remembered 11.
We'll be there.
11 to 1, 2 o'clock usually.
11, and that's a free community event to come and have lunch with your neighbors.
Okay, so just to recap, for those of you in the viewing audience at home, so the Concilio Bridging Cultures meeting is June 6th, Baker Prairie Middle School at 6 p.m. if you're interested to find out more about these two great groups. And then the ongoing first summer event that Bridging Cultures hosts, it's a free community event. It's every Saturday, every other Saturday throughout the summer. Starts this Saturday, Locust Street Park from 11 to 1. There's great food, tons of entertainment, and invite everyone to come down and learn more about Bridging Cultures and Concilio. So, perfect.
I think last year they got you out to do an Aztec dance, Mayor.
I think that was 2 years ago, actually. Yes, I worked out my Aztec dancing, which was not smooth. So I might be due.
Add that to the fee schedule.
Thank you both. Thank you all for approving this and moving it forward, or putting it into existence. City Administrator, business and staff reports.
Yes, I do have a couple things. First, I did know that June 7th was a Wednesday because I recognized that I would be spending my 43rd wedding anniversary with this esteemed group.
Oh,
So, I know. I haven't broken the news to my wife yet, but
I think Joe's available that evening. I think that might be a great evening for Amanda.
Out to dinner, not Joe.
I think that might be an Amanda assistant city administrator job that night.
I think you should that night, be with your wife and the same day.
Thank you. I would like to note, for those of you who haven't noticed it, that the old council chambers are now down, and that was a necessary step in order to initiate the replat process with Clackamas County so that we can begin the next phase, which would be mobilization, demo of the remaining two buildings, and then we'll see construction starting on the old City Hall block in the upcoming several weeks. I would also tell Councillor Spoon that we share a date. My we don't go on a date, we share a date.
I was like, is it our anniversary too?
And it's your son's and my grandson's birthday today.
Aw. You can
My-
wish him happy birthday, and then Brian will tell him to have more Coke.
I don't think he's quite too mad at this.
My grandson Bryce is turning 15 today, and so I guarantee you he will just be having the Coke without asking. For any of you who are interested, if you would like to have a copy of the Canby Housing Needs Assessment, which was either done in 2008 or 2013, I have it on my desk. One was 2008. I think there was a subsequent one, so I'll have to study it. Just let me know. Shoot me an email and let me know, and I'll follow up and get you a copy. It is not a small document, so I will probably give you a hard copy rather than trying to email it, because I have to break it into packets. And so just let me know, and I'll put it in your box if you'd like a copy of it. And I would say, don't reply all, or Joe will get upset. I'd also, again, like to compliment Julie Whaling for the work that she had done. I was under the impression that we would sometime between now and the end of 2018 be bringing you another 5% increase in the contract. I had misread it, so not only are we not bringing you a 5.9% increase, but she is going to be taking money back from the budget, so that's a really good outcome. So thank you, Julie, and I had misspoke there because I misunderstood. Thank you for the clarification. Remind everybody that tomorrow night's Budget Committee meeting is to commence at 6 o'clock. I hope that our friends with CTV5 will be here to record and upload to YouTube the proceedings again, as they did last night, for the first time, and to my knowledge, in the history of the city of Canby, having televised budget committee meetings. So thank you to CTV5 for doing that. And that is all I have to share with you.
Great. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Second opportunity for citizen input. If there's anyone that wants to input to us, anything? Nope. All right. Action review.
You have approved the consent agenda, and you've adopted Resolution 1262 and approved Ordinance 1460 to come up for second reading on June 7th.
Great. Thank you, Kim. Joe, exec session this evening?
Nope.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you all for a great evening. I will take a motion to adjourn. Motion's been made by Councillor Hensley, seconded by Councillor Hyde to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone want to hang out? Did you say yes or no? All right. That passes 6-0. Thank you, Canby. Have a great evening.
Oh my gosh.